Okay, Beseda, so we're up to, in the middle of Siman Ayin, who are potter from Kriya Shema, so two very interesting Sifim just to finish off. Sif Dalet, if someone was involved in a communal activity, V'higia Zman Kriya Shema, and now is the time for Kriya Shema, lo yafsik, you shouldn't stop this Tzarchei Tzibur and be mafsik for Kriya Shema, just keep on going with the Tzarchei Tzibur. Yigmar iskehem, finish off whatever you're involved with, v'yikra, and then afterwards you be korech Kriya Shema nisha eis likros if there is still time to do it. It's an amazing halacha. Oiskim mitzvah potem in mitzvah. Says the Mishnah Berurah. So this is the Mishnah Berurah on Siman Ayin Sif Daled at the bottom of the page there. But tzarchei harabim Mayri, says the Mishnah Berurah in Sif Kotten Tezayin, Mayri she'ein sham mishi yishtadel elahu, because you're the only person who can do it, and therefore lakach in a paisik because the person is involved in a mitzvah. Even if this mitzvah is helping people financially, so this is an amazing thing. So I'm not sure you haven't got the. You got okay. So 34. So in footnote 34, can you see it goes on the next page? He says va'afilu. This is an unbelievable halacha. This. In other words, not that you're mamish actively involved in these Tzarchei Tzibur, says footnote 34, Va'afilu b'shah shenoch, kadei she'elokech lahamshik lasik b'mitzvah, kasav lekamon in Siman Ayin Aleph, shenechshav la'isik b'mitzvah. You hear that? So a guy is involved in Tzarchei Tzibur, he's having a coffee to give himself koyach to go weiter in that, even that time is potter from Kriya Shema. Unbelievable. There's a story with Meister with Scheinberg, that a lady wants to enter from Scheinberg, and she says that she's Torah from the moment she gets up. She's busy with the kids, getting them ready for school and dressed and breakfast and whatever, and then she drops the kids off to nursery, does the shopping, she comes home. She's got this window to daven, 11 to 11:15, before she then has to go back and pick up the kids from the playgroup, whatever. What should she do then? Daven Shachris or have a coffee? Rabbi Scheinberg says, have a coffee. Because that's your avodah as a mother. You got to make sure you've got energy, you've got koyach. So that's exactly what we're saying here. But with tzarchei tzibur, your oisik mitzvah is still considered when you're resting from that mitzvah. Okay, and then we said even if it's rak hatzolas mamoinam, and in footnote 35 he says even vafilu kashaisik hatzolas mamon shel yachid, even if it means saving the money of an individual, not a whole tzibur. So oisik b'tzarchei tzibur doesn't necessarily mean the whole community, but even of one individual. Okay, Higia, so it's carrying on the Mishnah Berurah. V'higia zman Kriya Shema, says the Mishnah Berurah, mashma mizeh, t'im hischil be'issa acha shehigia hazman, if he began after the zman started, and he shouldn't have done, he should have been focused on Kriya Shema, then tzorech lahafsik. V'ayim prima gadim shemetzadid b'chol gavni ein tzorech lahafsik, even in that situation, you don't have to be mafsik. Okay, Yudches, lo yafsik, so you're oisik b'tzorchei tzibur, with Siman Ayin Sif Dalet. If you're oisik b'tzarchei tzibur, you don't have to be mafsik for Kriya Shema. V'im yochel lahafsik leKriya Shema, if you're able to, v'achakach lachzor v'ligmar tzarchei tzibur b'lo terach, but you're able to go back to your tzarchei tzibur, then yafsik. Kasav aprima gadim da'afagav doisik b'tzarchei rabim b'potzim Kriya Shema, even though the rule is that you're oisik b'tzarchei rabim, you're potzim from Kriya Shema. Mikol makom in pasuk v'kara shapir yos lecheva. If you do read it, even though you're potter, if you go and lay in Kriya Shema, then you've fulfilled your obligation. Delay potter mamish Kriya Shema. It's not a proper patur, and it's just that you're currently exempt because oisik mitzvah potter min mitzvah, but not that there's no chiyuv on you, that you still have fulfilled the mitzvah. So Yigmar iskehem. If you can, at least minimally say the first pasuk of Shema in Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Elel Avoid Bizmano Ki Zeh Davar Kotzer, because that takes a few moments. And it's shaykh to do that even whilst you're involved in the tzarchei tzibur. And then we said that then you should finish off the tzarchei tzibur that you're involved in, and later you read Kriya Shema im nishar eis likros if it's still the time to read it. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Sif Kotten Chof, ve'im lo nishar ma yaseh. Also, and if you didn't do it, you couldn't, because the tzarchei tzibur took you the whole morning until lunchtime. And if you didn't do it, what can you do? It says the Mishnah Berurah, ve'im lo nishar ma yaseh. Hari osak b'mitzvah. You were involved in a mitzvah and you were potter. But that doesn't exempt you from a separate issue, which is Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim. Afilu la'achar she'ov zman Kriya Shema, which goes on beyond the Zman of Kriya Shema. Shezui mitzvah b'fnei atzmo, mitzvah kol hayom. Al kain, yom ha'ezeh parsha sheyesh bo Yetzias Mitzrayim, say a parsha which contains the record of Yetzias Mitzrayim, where you can no longer say emes v'yatziv because it's so zman tefillah as well. Like we discussed. Okay, if your communal engagement, your tzorech tzibur, spreads till after chatzos, then everyone agrees you're exempt from Kriya Shema, and from tefillah and from everything. You can't eat yet until you put on tefillin. That issa of eating before a mitzvah still applies for tefillin. Does mana kol hayom, because the tefillin applies all day. The gamla fi mashikosav afi magadim mitzvah peites also le oz lechel kodim shemispal tefillas hamincha al ken kshiyagia chatzi shah acha chatzos, which is now yispal tefillas hamincha achim yechol, which is the zman mincha. So daven mincha first and then you can eat. I'm a sefer mincha Yisrael beperek zayin, and that we've spoken about before, but. We'll come to this halacha in the next halacha, and generally when it comes to Hilchos Mincha, that you shouldn't have a big suda, etc. before Mincha. There are halachas about if you've got a shomer, you've got a special time to daven, and then you're allowed to do it. Just one amazing story that Rabbi Hartman always tells. He heard it from Shlomo Fisher, who heard it from someone who was there. This is, it's an amazing thing. What have we just said? The Mechaber says, if you're oisik b'tzorech tzibur, you're part of Kriya Shema, right? So he said that one time the Chafetz Chaim, they had a nasifa of all the gedolim in the house of the Chafetz Chaim, and this is going back, to the early 1900s. And travel was very hard then, and there were some very pressing issues which they needed to discuss. And it's very hard to get all the gedolim together at one time, travel and everything else. They were all there in the Chafetz Chaim's house, and they were involved going through the various things they needed to discuss. And then it came to Mincha. It was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and one of the gedolim there, they didn't say who it was, banged on the table and said Mincha. And the Chafetz Chaim says, no, the halacha says that mamash this halacha, right? And we're now involved in Tzorech Tzibur. It's very hard to get us all together again, and we are exempt from Mincha today. Let's continue. And the fellow, whoever this godel was, ignored the Chafetz Chaim, says Ashrei, and carried on davening. And the Chafetz Chaim, we picture the small Chafetz Chaim, and the Chafetz Chaim says, Tfilasoi To'eva. His tefillah is an abomination. Can you imagine? That's why Rabbi Hartman said he heard it from Shlomo Fisher, who heard it directly from someone who was there. Amazing. Anyway, okay, and this is for, and that's for, okay, whatever. Let's carry on. Okay, Siv Hey. Now, a person was eating. So he was in the bathhouse. He was having a haircut. He was working on his, in a tannery with leather skins. He was involved in a din Torah. He was a dayan, or he was involved in a din Torah. Rambam Goimer, he can finish off the achakach keri Krishma, and afterwards he can read Krishma. If he's worried he's going to miss the zman or posak, he can stop. Then praiseworthy. No, he's got to stop. Even though there may be time later, he's got to stop in the middle of his activity, even though there may be time later, because we're worried that he may forget it. But the common Siman Reish Lamed Hey, which is talking about halachas of Erev Shabbos, where a very similar halacha appears. Okay, it says Mishnah Berurah. Eisik ba'achila. Manikra tzchola ayin lekama b'siman Reish Lamed Beis Seif Beis. Goyim evachkach hainu kashehu mishayer sheishoel ezman nikres. He estimates that he's got time still to read Kriya Shema. It means that he hasn't estimated properly, that he hasn't left enough time to do it. But the Raiva says no, he can't just continue and do it later. He's got to stop straight away. Mafsik. Says the conclusion, the consensus of the majority of Achronim is the Kimat Kulon. When it comes to deraisas, then it depends on the Zman when he started, whether he was allowed to or not. Vimkein, we'll see what it means. Lafizeh, b'melacha, b'chol elu enyonim levad me'achila. In the above, when he was working, or the above items mentioned in this halacha, apart from eating, im hischil kodim amat hashacha, if he began before alois, ein tzorich lifsoik, he can continue. Im yishoy lo shuhuz achar sheyigma likris krishma inspalal. So long as, if you had a suda, and you were eating at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was going through, or no, actually, eating's a bad thing, or you started the din Torah, and it was going through, then, so long as you've estimated there's time to say krishma before Sofsman, you're okay to carry on. Tahari Chaim on Siman Peites, they weren't geizer samach l'shachris. V'imkein hischil beheta. Since you started beheta, which when it was still nighttime, then it's okay. But if you began this activity after alois, the hischil be'issa, you shouldn't have done that. Pesach the krishma, you should stop for krishma do deraisa. But not for something which is drabon, like brachas and tefillah. And then afterwards, when you finish whatever you were doing, then you do the drabon and the i.e. the brachas and tefillah, etc. So long as there is still time. If you realize you're getting close to Sof Zman, you should stop straight away. And whenever you don't, whenever you didn't, then you're not chayav to stop. Well, in achila now, regarding achila, that's considered different. Mashma min ha'mechaba b'simen peites sifhei t'svirlei le'ikadin d'ma achila tzarich lifsok tekef mishalom dashacha. When it comes to eating, as soon as it comes alois, you should stop. Va'afilu hischel beheta, even if you began beheta. Why? V'lo mahani shum eitz kol zman shelo yispalel. If the mice, like for example, Shavuos night, you're involved in learning and you're eating, whatever, comes alois, you got to stop. You can't, even before alois, you got to stop eating. Chaf Daled v'koira. So this is going on the Ravid. The Ravid says you got to be mafsig, you got to stop what you were doing. V'koira, and you read Krishma afapi, that there's going to be time later. You should stop straight away what you're doing. Mashma dela'acha sheyikr Krishma. The implication is that once you've said Krishma, even though you haven't davened yet, you're allowed to continue and finish off this activity you're involved in. Is lav dafka if you're involved in achila. But we just said that when it comes to achila, you should have stopped earlier. V'nogdei mishum shadvarim. Okay. Inami mishum kriyashma shel arvis nogdei. Alternatively, it's said because of mariv. The behu shayach gamkein kol elu hadinim, because the same halachas apply for mariv. Or b'shel arvis, when the kriyashma at night time, v'adaim hischil b'chol elu chamish advarim. Certainly, if you began any of the 5 things mentioned in this sif, within half an hour before Nacht, mafsik miyad, he should stop straight away. And when the stars come out, when it becomes night, yikra krishma b'lo berchoser, then he reads Shema without the brachas. V'achakach gemar achila, so then he can finish his eating, his food. Oishar dova. V'achakach keri krishma berchoser mispalel, and then he reads Krishma and with the brachas and he davens. Okay, shehus likros. Even if there is time later to do it, it says he should stop. Why? It says the Mishmur Sifkat and Chafei, because you might be drawn into this activity. It's not the same as Mincha. The Kamel Siman Reish Lamed Beis Shim Hischil B'chol Elu Kodim Shispalel Ein Tzarich Lifsek. That when it came to Mincha time, that if you began an activity, you do not have to stop. Lefisha Krishma Himinat Torah. When it comes to Kriyashma, it's Minat Torah, and therefore Mahichmiru B'Yoseh, and that you were more strict, and that's why the Ravid says you've got to stop. Siman Reish Lamed Hey, the Ramah says at the end, take a look at Siman Reish Lamed Hey, Ratzalem, the Shamavu Chiluk Ben Hischil Behetzel Hischil Be'issa Ein Shom Oit. Okay, say it. We'll leave it there.